Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ebony Man 2K, aka That Jolly Rancher, aka Pretty Ricky, what they call me, and aka the original king of receipts. I welcome you to my channel. Today, I will address the controversial YouTuber Hannah Pearl Davis, aka Just Pearly Things manager, COBY DeVito. Now, COBY is not only Pearl's manager, but he is also an executive media producer for media publications on the conservative right. In this presentation, I will show you who he is connected to and how his connections are heavily influencing the actions of Just Pearly Things in the form of questionable topics, racist talking points, and invitations of racist guests. You will be surprised. This is Ebony Man 2K, the original king of receipts. Let's get it. Let me now introduce you to her manager, COBY DeVito. COBY plays a more active role in Just Pearly Things' YouTube platform. If you look on the screen now, you can see where he sends out retweets of Pearl's postings on Twitter. Here, he retweets about episodes of Pearl's wife's school show and her announcements about recruiting talent and interesting guests for Pearl to interview on her show. Now, if you look on screen right now, you should see a copy of the resume of COBY DeVito. COBY holds a bachelor's degree from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Now, he lists content creator at YouTube as his current position, but primarily his work or his real job of the past year since July of 2019 has been with the publication The Daily Wire. He has had multiple roles at The Daily Wire as YouTube manager, social media video manager, and director of social video. But I'm raising an eyebrow because it seems like his only real job in his career has been with one employer, one publication, The Daily Wire. So let's move forward and investigate his involvement with The Daily Wire and see what the background of this publication is really about. If you look on screen now, you should see a description of The Daily Wire, with the source being Wikipedia. I will read that description as follows. The Daily Wire is an American conservative news website and media company founded in 2015 by political commentator Ben Shapiro and film director Jeremy Boring. The company is a major publisher on Facebook and produces podcasts such as The Ben Shapiro Show. In June 2022, the Daily Wire launched Daily Wire Plus, a video-on-demand platform featuring various Daily Wire content, including podcasts and video productions. The company has released multiple exclusive feature-length films and television series. The Daily Wire is based in Nashville, Tennessee. Many Daily Wire stories repackage journalism from traditional news organizations while adding a conservative slant. Fact checkers have said that some stories shared by the Daily Wire are unverified and that the Daily Wire sometimes mistakes facts to advance a partisan view. Oh my God. Oh my God. Wow. Wow. Now we cooking with hot grease, y'all. We cooking with hot grease. Do you see that last paragraph? Do you see it? Listen, let me read it to you again, just in case you missed it. It says, many Daily Wire stories repackage journalism from traditional news organizations while adding a conservative slant. Fact checkers have said that some stories shared by the Daily Wire are unverified and that the Daily Wire sometimes mistakes facts to advance a partisan view, y'all. Unbelievable. So listen, so now we can understand where Just Pearly Things gets all of her bullshit rhetoric from. There are many times on her shows where Pearl purposely misrepresents historical facts so badly that it leaves her viewers wondering what the fuck is she talking about. In these cases, Pearl is obviously trying to push an underlining agenda, and I highly suspect that these bullshit talking points are coming from characters from the radical right, like Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro, through her handlers COBY DeVito and Gino Bontempo. Now, let's keep moving by exploring the background of the creator of the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro. And let's see how his ideologies may be affecting the YouTube platform of Just Pearly Things. If you look on the screen now, you should see a profile summary of Ben Shapiro. That summary reads as follows. In 2016, Shapiro described himself as basically a libertarian. In 2021, he described himself as generally libertarian in regards to the role of the government, and as a conservative in regards to the role of social structures. The New Yorker, HATERZ, and Vox have described Shapiro as right-wing. Shapiro's views have been described by the New York Times as extremely conservative, and was described by The Economist as a radical conservative and as a classically religious conservative. A 2020 study examining issue framing by right-wing podcasts used the Ben Shapiro Show as an example, which offered a mainstream conservative perspective that favors President Donald Trump and his framing on issues like nationalism in a 2x2 matrix that also examined a Stormfront podcast, an alt-right podcast, and the Daily Standard podcast. The study showed that Shapiro's rhetoric was similar to that used in the Stormfront podcast, though with a different tone. Shapiro accuses the political left of believing in an imaginary hierarchy of victimhood, in which the opinions of members of persecuted groups like the LGBT community are afforded more credence. He has argued that the left has dominated American culture through popular entertainment, media, and academia in a way that has made conservatives feel disenfranchised and helped lead to the election of Donald Trump in the 2016 presidential election. He has stated that political correctness breeds insanity. Shapiro is an outspoken opponent of safe spaces, especially those on college campuses, arguing that they go against free speech. Shapiro frequently praises Western culture and Western civilization. In 2019, he said, "I believe Western civilization is superior to other civilizations." Now, these are some of his views on race. He has acknowledged that African Americans were historically victims of injustice in the United States, but does not believe in the existence of widespread systematic injustice today. In 2017, Shapiro stated that the idea that black people in the United States are disproportionately poor because America is racist, that's just not true. Shapiro has dismissed the idea that the United States was founded on slavery and argued that America was founded in spite of slavery. Shapiro is critical of Black Lives Matter and has argued that the Black Lives Matter movement did indeed begin with protests about police brutality, but quickly morphed into broader debates over the validity of looting and rioting, tearing down historic statues, slavery reparations, and defunding the police. So you can see how Ben Shapiro's ideologies, especially those on race, can affect other YouTubers like Pearl through members of his media empire. Remember, COBY DeVito and Gino Bontempo are not only managers, but they are also conservative journalists with years of experience in media production, which means that they are experts in creating and producing entertaining stories and narratives that have conservative slants. COBY and Gina are both college graduates. Gina is a graduate of Harvard. Unfortunately, Pearl is not as savvy or as intelligent as her counterparts, so her delivery of their crafted talking points tend to come across as awkward and not well thought out when she speaks on them on her YouTube platform. Now, let's go ahead and move forward on what I think will happen next, now that I have officially called out Hannah Pearl Davis, aka Just Pearly Things. Now that I've presented my findings about Hannah Pearl Davis and her management team, I'm sure there will be pushback from Pearl and her naysayers. If you look on the screen now, I have made a list of her anticipated responses with my replies to those responses. I imagine the conversation with Pearl would go a little something like this. Pearl, don't pay attention to Ebony Man 2K. He is just a small YouTuber. Ebony Man, regardless if I have 1 sub, 1,000 subs, or 1 million, I am thorough in my presentation with credible receipts. Any attempt to belittle my efforts will serve as a form of distraction. Pearl, claiming to be from Chicago when I'm not, it's really not that big of a deal. Ebony Man, Chicago is a world-renowned city with international recognition. So for you to try to claim to be from Chicago when you are not is a lame attempt to steal swag that you don't have. Pearl, just because my management is part of the conservative right doesn't mean that I am. Duh. Ebony Man, this is true, but it is plausible that your manager's connections to conservative sources on the radical right can easily serve as an influence on your topics, talking points, and choice of guests. Pearl, I don't know Ben Shapiro, never met Ben Shapiro, so why are you trying to tie me to Ben Shapiro? Ebony Man, just because you don't personally know Ben Shapiro doesn't mean you're not heavily influenced by his ideology through your handlers, COBY and Gina. For instance, your thoughts on abortion are almost identical to Ben Shapiro's. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my presentation of the truth about Hannah Pearl Davis, aka Just Pearly Things, and her management team. I have given you receipts of Pearl's background and where she is really from. I have given you testimony of her immoral business practices from an ex-colleague. I have given you a full background report of her managers COBY DeVito and Gina Bontempo. And lastly, I've shown how Pearl could be highly affected by the ideologies of Ben Shapiro through his media empire, The Daily Wire, from her managers COBY and Gina. Well, all right, I hope this presentation has been informative, and feel free to share this video with others, because it is obvious that Hannah Pearl Davis is not who she claims to be, and she does not have our best interests at heart. It appears that Just Pearly Things is being used by the radical right to conquer and destroy people of color. This is Ebony Man 2K, the original king of receipts. Peace, and I'm out.